I think instead of going downstairs to sleep, she should have stayed in soul ties with the owl, because I am pretty sure the owl was trying to say, who the fuck is going to convince you to dump Sincere, Melanie? Happy Friday, everybody. Here to talk about last night's episode of Love Island USA, where it was night 2 of movie night. I thought night 2 of movie night was not good. I don't think there was any juice. Seems like all of the drama was on night 1, and then they gave us this bullshit outside of Kenzie getting hers. I don't think it was very good. And worst of all, no second video package of Zach's manipulation. No burying of Zach, which makes me think that Zach is not a production plant, because if he was, Zach would have been shown to do what he was doing. If he was a plant in there to cause some chaos, that's what would have been shown, because it's been shown in the past. And sometimes that's one of the more damning things to show. So the fact that there wasn't a video package burying Zach tells me that Zach is actually a production pet, which is much worse. And with them not giving Zach a real negative video, I do worry we have suffered through this season for a Zach and Kata win. They do have support thanks to Kata. Kata is very popular, and I don't know if they will have enough disdain for Zach to keep them from winning. There are Zach and Kata fans out there. I don't know why or how, but there are. So yeah, they are a dark horse to win, and that is definitely not a good thing. But let's talk about movie night. It did continue. We had some clips of Corbin to start where he was talking about it, Casa, how he forgot he was in a couple, but he thinks Kenzie will forget him and throw her shit back with somebody else. They, of course, showed a lot of Parmita and Corbin in Casa, them kissing, him saying she looks good, Corbin saying they're both perfect, basically. There was also a conversation of Corbin and KC in here talking about KC being more attracted to TT and how Annayia didn't pick him. And it always coming back to that night, that first night when Annayia didn't pick him. Corbin also in this video package was mentioning that the Villa girls were high school girls, which of course was not going to be taken kindly by the Villa girls. The Casa girls were talking shit about Kenzie in this video package, with Parmita saying she's not scared of Kenzie. And when in the video package, Sydney said that Kenzie wants anyone that gives her attention, the Casa girls were quick to say, that was Sydney, that wasn't us, that was Sydney. After the video package, Corbin basically said what he said was true about his connection, but he's sorry for the things that he does say. Kenzie and Jen don't like that he always just has these comments to say about Kenzie, which they find to be disrespectful, which we'll talk about Kenzie's video package next. It was a lot of Corbin and Kenzie sneaking around during that week that they were sneaking around. It showed how Kenzie was basically two-timing Caleb with Corbin, how she was more into Corbin that night that Corbin denied the kiss when they were going to stop kissing, and Kenzie told Caleb that she would stop kissing Corbin, but then showed them kissing again behind Caleb's back, keeping it a secret. They showed Kenzie telling Jen about it back when Jen was more than happy to keep Kenzie's secrets, only for Kenzie to then do the same thing to Jen over these past few days. Trinity was looking mighty embarrassed watching this take place because there was no defense for Kenzie. It was just like Sincere. They showed Kenzie telling Caleb things but still kissing Corbin. Afterwards, Kenzie's excuse was that she still liked Corbin when America put her and Caleb together, even though Caleb was her type. And she tried with Caleb, but she still felt better with Corbin. Caleb says Kenzie did not tell him any of this, though, so he was putting all that energy into her, and that's why he was blindsided. Because, yeah, Kenzie was just telling Caleb these words of affirmation when she was two-timing him. Kenzie did apologize. Gall during this was saying, I'm going to be sick, as if he didn't watch this before he came in and didn't flirt with Kenzie and, left Jen to try and get with Kenzie. Gall sucks. Hopefully his time is up tonight. Zach jumped in here with his bitch ass talking about how this is what he was talking about. Kenzie's a hypocrite. The girls are hypocrites. Which this time, Zach was right. But the boys should have saved all that energy for Kenzie instead of trying to railroad Annayia and defend KC's disrespect, only to have Sincere during that confrontation admit that KC was disrespectful. And that was the whole point. Dylan talked. He was saying he just had the same experience with Kenzie last night that Caleb had with her because she was kissing Gall. Kenzie used her excuse that a kiss is like a handshake to her and that she didn't try to hurt people. Honestly, hopefully her time is running out soon too. I would like Kenzie to go before the finale, I guess. Although, to me, I don't know what's worse, Kenzie and Dylan or Kata and Zach. I don't like Kata and Zach. I'm going to make that clear during this video in case I haven't made that clear in the past, even though I think I have made that clear. We had another video package that started with Melanie and Anthony on their date and kissing, but most of this was Sincere with Amora in Casa and how they kissed on night one, and Sincere was saying he had to get the kiss out of the way. Amora talking about how it's effortless to talk with him. Sincere kissing Amora more. Sincere saying Amora is a great listener. Sincere wanted to open up to someone and Amora makes it easy, so they were kissing more. Melanie was watching this, needing to hold Anayya's hand. In the clip, Sincere was saying he hasn't felt this way with anyone in a long time. And before Amora leaving, Sincere telling her if they had more time, she would have been the one. So of course Melanie is very upset after seeing this because there was already another video package of Sincere and Soul on night one, and now here he is doing the same thing to Amora. And Melanie is saying she's never said that to anyone, that if there would have been more time, she would have chosen them. Sincere's excuse is that he just wanted to give Amora a chance. Bryce decided to jump in here, saying Sincere has said that the only person he saw himself outside of the villa with is Melanie. Bryce saying that Sincere just doesn't express himself well. No. It's not that Sincere does not express himself well. It's that Sincere lies all the time. Constant, nothing but lies to people. Honestly, this was the start of this entire episode being people making excuses for Sincere, and I am so over it. Melanie said that he only chooses her because she's an idiot that he could go back to. And then Sincere decided to get defensive instead of trying to be understanding, and brought up what Melanie was doing with Corbin when that was so 3 or 4 weeks ago. Melanie yells at him for playing the victim card, saying she didn't kiss Corbin out of challenges until the very end of all of that ordeal when he was already moving on with Soul anyway. Melanie is sick of him not standing for shit, and she is drained. Bryce was trying to get Sincere to just tell Melanie that she is right and own his shit. But you see, even if Sincere would have just said that, what Bryce wanted him to do, that still would have been lying. Because I don't think he believes that. That's why he got defensive. He thinks he had a right to do everything he did in this game, because Melanie was being dramatic at the start when he just had one conversation with Kata. And so I do agree with that. But then he had the whole Soul experience. And then he got back with Melanie after Soul, only to do the exact same thing with Amora. He tells people the same damn things. So Melanie was up yelling, asking when Sincere is going to fix this, saying he is a bullshitter and she is embarrassed. She looks stupid because she keeps picking him. She tells him that he isn't fixing it, just making her look stupid. She had to go upstairs and cry. Annayia was the one to follow her, and that was our worthless night 2 of movie night, honestly. When Melanie was with Annayia, she was talking about how she doesn't want to be here anymore. It was kind of a reverse of how Annayia felt last week. Amora, meanwhile, was downstairs being shady, saying she wouldn't subject herself to that as many times as Melanie had, even though she was sad when Sincere first dumped her. She wouldn't do what Melanie is doing. The Casa girls love being shady behind people's backs, but I believe Amora when she says she wouldn't be as ridiculous as Melanie has been with Sincere this season. Annayia told Melanie that Melanie didn't know all of this stuff about Sincere until today watching it, although, the Casa guys tried to tell her last week about it. Melanie brought up the fact that Sincere was telling everyone the same shit, and if he's going to do that, he should just leave her alone. Annayia tried to stick up for Sincere here, saying that Sincere really does like her. And this is, again, talked about this a couple days ago. Annaya's friendship style annoys me because telling people what you think they want to hear rather than what they need to hear is terrible friendship advice, in my opinion. Melanie was still complaining about how Sincere's actions never match his words, which is true. Melanie sees all of this, and I do think it hit different seeing it all transpire on video. But it's so late in the game, like, what can she do other than just decide to be single, which I do wish she would do. That night, Melanie was going to sleep in soul ties, but an owl was up in soul ties again. A lot of people think the owl being there again was an omen of some kind, but I think the owl was literally trying to tell her something. I think instead of going downstairs to sleep, she should have stayed in soul ties with the owl, because I am pretty sure the owl was trying to say, who the fuck is going to convince you to dump Sincere, Melanie? But she didn't want to listen to the owl either, I guess. TT had a conversation with Annayia trying to tell Annayia that KC said positive things about Annayia too. Annayia is still upset that nobody was telling her how KC was moving or what KC was saying. Annayia was the bigger person here, to no surprise, and apologized to KC for being in his face. And thus, after that, he apologized for standing up in the first place and yelling. And so after 2 days of our discourse, they apologized, and good for them. Annayia and TT, meanwhile, say they understand each other. TT wanted a hug from Annayia, even though I think she's very, very fake. People who thought the Villa girls were bullies thought TT was going to run things when she came in, but she can only throw rocks and hide her hand at best, so, now she's asking for hugs. Bryce continued his advice giving in this episode. I guess he's embracing that he was about to turn 30, because I don't know if we've gotten to his birthday yet on this show or not. He decided he was going to give advice during this entire episode, for better or for worse. This time for better, telling KC to at least try and be Annaya's friend. Carl is also okay with Annayia, who was worried that, Carl wouldn't have been okay with she getting so upset with KC. But it seemed like Carl understood the argument and it didn't turn him off, but they did not have a real edit in this episode. KC told TT he didn't like seeing him on video like that, and yet that was him. I'm glad to see he actually feels bad. I've stopped paying attention to the KC Defense Club because it's gotten way too delusional, so I don't know what his enablers are saying now. But his enablers can't even give KC respect in this episode properly, because KC actually does deserve some respect in this episode, but the enablers pretend like he has done nothing wrong. But it was good to see KC himself be able to identify that he was being an asshole with deep resentment this season. Annayia was talking to the girls about how KC can't sit himself down and say he was wrong, and Trinity talking about how she respects Corbin because Corbin can own his shit. And that's one thing I have been saying about Corbin this whole season. What you see with Corbin is what you get, and I too can respect that. KC would later pull Annayia, which we will get to, but let me get through some of this other nonsense real quick. Dylan apparently really, really likes Kenzie. I don't trust a damn thing Dylan says. Annayia talked to Kenzie about how it looks bad, and it was very shady with the whole Caleb situation and blindsiding Caleb. Kenzie saying she feels bad, but I felt like she was holding back a smirk during this conversation with Annayia. But she is sick of hurting people, allegedly. Kata was pissed at Zach because the info on Racist Girl leaving early was kept from her, so she thinks that maybe things with Racist Girl just stopped because she left. Kata says nobody knows what would have happened if she didn't leave. But, it was another situation where Kata says she's so mad, but there she is hugging Zach. And yet this is the couple that's going to get first, second, or third place, the most hollow, empty couple on the show. One of the most hollow, empty couples I've ever seen on Love Island USA. Corbin, Casey, Caleb had a chat talking about how movie night drained them. Casey wanted to apologize to Annayia. He admitted to being disrespectful out of Casey's own mouth, owning that he was being disrespectful after so many people tried to twist themselves into pretzels for his bullshit. Caleb wants to talk to Kenzie but doesn't know if he should. And Kenzie and Kata were having a chat. Kata saying that Kenzie was right to explore, but it did look bad. It was actually giving sincere, so I do like Kata telling Kenzie to her face that she was basically doing a sincere, which is someone you should not want to be compared to. Later in the episode, Kenzie said she's sick of the drama, and Melanie had to tell Kenzie that she is the drama, so I enjoyed that as well. And then that night, Kenzie apologized to Dylan again if she's been making him feel bad. She says that she's more closer to him now, and I guess closer to closing off, but you could get these two out of my damn villa too. Parmita wants to know Corbin on a deeper level. He did open up about his childhood, how his father wasn't very romantic with his mother when he was younger because his father was older by that time and didn't do shit like that, even though his father might have done shit like that when he was younger. Corbin talked about his dad being so nonchalant and chill, which is clearly where Corbin gets it from because he is very nonchalant and chill. Parmita again said they're so much alike, I guess. I don't really understand how Parmita is that much alike with Corbin, but sure, we could go with that. Corbin, for me, has been a tough one this season. When he first came on, he was so one note. It got old quick. I didn't like him. But what I have always liked about him is he doesn't pretend to be something he isn't. He is not fake like a lot of this cast. If only he and KC didn't have those women bashing sessions all season long, I might like him and Parmita more than I do. But honestly, fuck it. Even with Parmita, in a perfect world, I would rank Parmita and Corbin higher than Zach and Kata. That's how I feel about Zach and Kata. Casey did pull Annayia. She got in a good poke when she said, "Grandmama is coming," which I liked from her. He told her that he said a lot of embarrassing shit. He was holding shit in because he didn't want to argue, and he built up resentment that she didn't even know about. Throughout this entire episode, Casey admitted he was talking shit about Annayia the whole time, while she never did that once to him. So he was basically also shitting on his incel fandom, who I believe only like Casey because they want to hate on Annayia. Casey said his feelings were real and that they had real moments despite the bullshit. He did apologize. She forgave him. She cares about him and wants him to be happy. And he is happy that she is with Carl. She told him to treat TT right. This was good to see. I think Annayia, deep down, has always tried to care about people in her own way, even if I don't like the advice that she gives her friends. And I think this was just much needed for both of them. I do wonder where the KC defense squad goes from here, because if they keep going, all they are going to do is further hurt Casey's chances for success outside of the show. I don't know if half of them care about that, though, because I'm convinced that half of them don't defend KC to defend him, but just to hate on Annayia. For me, it was good to see these two who are in their early 20s, but mature enough to try and end things on a positive note when there's been so many people in their 30s and 40s saying the most delusional bullshit about these two. But Casey is saying he's happy that they can move forward. He even admitted to being cowardly in this episode, and that he doesn't want to treat TT like he treated Annayia. And that is what I can try and call growth. Casey is still young, and he will still do immature things because immaturity has been his main problem, in my opinion. But I do hope that this was actually a learning experience for him, because I do believe his shame. He had these shameful looks on his face throughout the entirety of movie night when he was watching himself. So I hope it was true growth for KC. Annayia told Sincere that she was disappointed in him. He said that he wasn't a good friend to her and didn't defend her, which is true. Annayia said it looks like he was playing everyone, which that's what it looks like, and says that he should feel bad because Melanie is on her last leg, and Sincere says he feels dumb and doesn't deserve her, and Annayia says that he does look dumb as fuck. Bryce was talking to Melanie about how watching what Sincere did was different. Bryce said that her feelings are valid and that Sincere is kind of stupid and it all looks bad, and she says, yeah, it doesn't look good and she doesn't feel good. Bryce tried to take up for Sincere, saying that Sincere feels bad, but Melanie said that it doesn't feel like she is the one with Sincere. Right now we are in a place where I feel like Melanie's intuition or Melanie's feelings are telling her this shit is never going to work. And I don't know why there's so many people trying to tell her otherwise left in the game. I don't know if it's out of friendship, but it's annoying me. Or maybe they just want Melanie to stick around because, you do have to be in a couple to be on the show. Melanie said that it doesn't make sense that if Sincere likes someone so much, he keeps hurting that someone. And so, yeah, I just feel like throughout this episode, people weren't truly validating Melanie and were making up excuses for Sincere. And Melanie is kind of stuck because the show requires you to be in a couple or you can be out. And I would love her to explore, but I feel like it's so late in the game. And I don't even feel like she has it in her. I mean, I do kind of feel like if there was any season for late season bombshells, this would be the one. But at that same time, is Melanie really going to move on? I don't know. Bryce and Annayia both used the excuse in this episode that Sincere is dumb. And I mean, that's true because he is. I'm sure he said things to them like epitome to their faces. But Sincere also knew what he was doing with these girls, so I don't really want to hear excuses for him anymore. I really don't. Melanie and Sincere had their chat. Sincere said he thought about why he does the things he does, and he's going to try and be vulnerable, and he said that being a people pleaser when he was younger has seeped into his adult life. And I believe him, kinda, because it's very hard to believe him. But it's not a good enough excuse. And I'm glad that Mal asked him what about Soul was people-pleasing because he likes Soul and wants him to own up to the fact that it was a connection. Sincere said it was a connection and he was disrespectful to Melanie. Melanie said he got her back before he went to Casa, and then he went to Casa and did the exact same thing. So at this point, Melanie is saying she doesn't believe anything he says, and she shouldn't. Because neither do I. Sincere says what he did was disgusting and he sees it. Melanie told him he needs to grow the fuck up. She has spent all summer crying and patient for his growth, and that he doesn't deserve her and doesn't deserve to have a connection with her. He deserves to lose her. Melanie is saying the right things, but unfortunately on this show I just feel like she's stuck with him right now. She's saying she wants to make this decision for her. Though then she says that she feels so good when she's with him. But I'm like, do you? I don't get why people say this. Because a lot of people say this. But then you could see that that person clearly makes them unhappy. And she herself just said that she's been crying all summer. So that kind of stuff doesn't compute with me. But she said again that he makes her look stupid. Says his speeches do nothing for her now. Zach and the guys were being nosy. Of course, Zach has always a comment to say, saying that they only have two options, stay together or break up. But as we see by the preview, guys are picking in tonight's episode. So he will probably choose Melanie, and she is probably stuck with Sincere. But I would love for this season to end with Melanie dumping Sincere. That's the best storyline for Melanie. Will it happen? I'm not convinced. It seems like tonight we're going to have 5 eliminations, I believe. Jen, Amora, and Gall will be 3 of them for sure. They're going to be voting on the 2 least compatible couples. I kind of see Caleb and Jaden being in trouble. Maybe Corbin and Permita. Maybe Kenzie and Dylan. Those are the couples I see in danger besides Amora and Gall if those 2 even get together. Amora said she was going to chat up Caleb. We haven't seen any of that. So, yeah, unless they do something wild tonight and vote off Sincere and Melanie as incompatible, that's not going to happen, though, because everyone seems to be rooting for those 2 to stay together, even though it's so damn toxic. Plus, when it comes to voting on this show, they always try to save friendships, so I don't see some big, shocking elimination tonight.